Athens, Greece was the first civilization to develop a democracy, meaning that the government was ruled by people, not just one person. However, Athens went through a severe economic crisis and people were sold into slavery. Years later, a statesman passed a law outlawing slavery based on debt. The same statesman developed a council of 400, giving citizens more power. Further reforms were assembled when the council grew to 500 and citizens were given more power by giving it to the poor too. However, the system was corrupt due to the fact that only 1 out of 5 of the residents in Athens were considered citizens. Direct democracy was created when there was increase of paid public officials and jurors, enabling poor citizens to participate. Direct democracy is where citizens don't have to go through representatives. Greeks used reason and intelligence to discover patterns and explanation of the world. Later in history, Rome overthrew a harsh king and formed a government in which citizens elected leaders who make governmental decisions, calling it a republic or an indirect democracy. Written law was enforced because some of the officials would interpret laws to suit themselves. In times of crisis, this government would elect a leader who would have absolute power to command the army. Later, Rome grew too big and collapsed. The Romans tried to create a system of equal laws that could be applied throughout the Roman Empire, regardless of people's nationality. This had great influence on the development of democracy throughout the Western world and developed principles like a person is innocent until proven guilty. England was unified by one singular legal system and created the idea of common law. Unlike Roman law, which expressed the will of a ruler or lawmaker, common law reflected customs and principles established over time. Later, English nobles forced the king to accept their demand that were presented to him as the Magna Carta, or Great Charter. This was the major source of English respect for individual rights and liberties, limiting the English monarchy. This was developed to protect liberties of all English people. The Parliament was also created through this. The Parliament continued to gain more power. However, the king wanted to rule unprecedented. The king was ignoring the parliamentary courts, which used common law. Later, a civil war broke out, the monarchy supporters against the parliament supporters. After a year of conflict, the king was executed and replaced. Before constitutional monarchy, people in England were very unhappy with the rulers and eventually forced one of them into fleeing to France, where England was then co-ruled, and the ruler's powers were then restricted by the Constitution and laws, limiting them.